G'day and welcome to Space Engineers Survival. This is going to be the start of a series where I'm going to try to build stuff in survival in a somewhat challenging scenario in order to take out this district headquarters. What we've got is a start with this little vehicle and this minimalistic base. On a planet where there should be no uranium underground. We might still find it in some of the rocks on the surface, but we will not find any of it underground. This base has pretty much just what we need to survive. It's got a refinery, it's got an assembler, it's got some batteries, and conveniently, it's got a map of the local area. That red dot is where we are, so we're down in that little canyon that leads down towards that ice lake. And we do not have a med bay. We do have medical components. Let's pop these away for a moment. The first thing I guess we should be trying to do is build ourselves a medical bay. And we're going to need some space for that. Let's get rid of this kitchen. It looks nice, but I don't think we really need it. There are quite a few things I've done with this start to make it a bit more difficult. First off, the uranium, like I mentioned, which is going to mean that we're going to have to live off solar power and hydrogen thrust. That's going to be the easiest way to generate a good deal of thrust for any ships that we try to build. I don't think we've got all of the components we need for this medbay, which is going to make things a bit risky for our start. But if we place it down and we try and build it, we'll figure out exactly what we need so that we can target that and do it as quickly as possible. So we'll just keep grabbing the bits that we need next, since the cargo container is right next to us, which makes it not too bad and I don't have to remember parts. And now for the metal grids. Oh no, we don't have enough of them. That means we're going to need, I think it's nickel, cobalt and iron in order to get enough of those. So we'll need to build, we do? Good, we do have detector components. We can add a detector to our vehicle outside so that we can drive around and hopefully discover most of what's in any of the holes in the ground or any of the deposits underground, so that we can maybe get lucky and get that nickel before something comes to kill us. Or I do something incredibly silly. One thing I've set up with this world that will make it significantly more challenging is we've actually got a bunch of enemy bases that, instead of having their beacons broadcasting out hundreds of meters before you actually get to the range where they'll spawn enemies for you, I've got it set up a little differently. It's actually set up so that the beacons will only broadcast after an enemy drone has already been launched to defend the base. So I've got to tread lightly in the local area, as I have no means to defend myself other than my personal rifle. And I don't think that's going to cut it at all, especially with only 540 rounds. We need an ore detector. Pop that in there. Let's add one of these to the top of the vehicle so that we can hopefully find our way around a little bit better. Oh, I need computers and motors. Dang it. I set up the bases quite a long time ago. It was around the time I did the video looking at how to do that. So my memory of where they are is at best a little hazy. So hopefully I don't end up traveling too far from the home base and get attacked and end this thing before I've even managed to get a med bay up. That would be embarrassing. So I'll keep my fingers crossed. Now, I think we need to set up these wheel suspensions a bit better for purpose. Let's get our strength to 5%. That's about right. Damping, let's pop it up. I'll leave those friction and powers at their current level because I'm going to need to modify those as I go. As we mine anything, I'm going to need to make adjustments to the friction and power so that I can actually make it up and down some of these hills, because it's pretty steep around here. And once I start putting ore in this thing, it's actually going to be pretty heavy. Something I've recently started doing with all my vehicles, and it's the last thing I'm going to do here, is actually put the safety lock override on my hotbar. This was mentioned to me in a comment, I believe, and it actually is a much better parking brake than the park brake. From the map, we saw that we were in a bit of a canyon. I think it might be worth trying to see if we can actually get out of the canyon and up onto the cliffside, because from there we might get a good overlook and be able to find spots of ore. The map doesn't have enough resolution for us to see that, so it might be worth trying. And now we run into why I have the friction and strength parameters ready to go, because we're slipping back down the hill. Oh dear, that doesn't look... Oh, that's not navigable. Well, that's not cool. Alright. That's a dead end. Let's see if there's another way out of this valley, which might end up being particularly important if we don't get lucky and don't find the right minerals in the valley. We're going to need some way out, and I'm not confident that we'll find the necessary bits to be able to build something that can fly. And I really don't want to have to walk up and down if the vehicle isn't able to drive. Because at the moment we need cobalt, nickel, iron. We probably need some silicon. We also need some... We might need gold for the displays as well. I can't actually recall off the top of my head. But we definitely need those other ones. Oh, we're conveniently heading in a direction near to that unknown signal. Even if we're not that close, it might actually be worth heading to get a couple of components out of it. I don't have any... Oh, that's not fair. I am not making it out that way. This vehicle just is not capable of that sort of off-roading. I think once I find a few resources, one of the first things I would like to do is upgrade the wheels on this thing to 5x5s. That might give us a bit better ground clearance and hopefully allow us to get up and out of more of these situations. Oh, I don't think we're getting out of this valley. Not while we've got these wheels on it. Valley, you have officially defeated my vehicle, at least for the time being. So, now that I'm defeated by the valley, let's turn around and let's head downhill. At least we know there's ice down the end of the valley, so we can head that way. And if nothing else, we might be able to put together an oxygen generator to get those hydrogen bottles that we've got back at the base. And maybe the oxygen bottle too, but that's probably not so useful since we've got an oxygen-rich atmosphere. Sneak our way around this way. Ugh. Hopefully we can make it a decent way down the valley before we lose sunlight. Given my driving skills, probably don't want to be driving around too quickly once it gets dark with trees and whatnot. I've set my friction on this thing so high because these are so steep. If I don't have the friction up that high, I can't actually grip to the ground at all. And that means I can't stop if there's a tree directly in front of me. Well, there's a dark patch directly ahead of us, so that's where I think we should probably head towards and check it out. But I'm not sure that there's any others that I can see in the valley, which is unfortunate, but maybe I'm just not able to see them properly from this angle. Now, as we head down, it looks like there might not be that many routes that we can take to get back up. And since I have a terrible sense of direction, let's mark it. If we have a GPS marker, hopefully this will mean that I won't spend 20 minutes every time I'm coming home until I eventually learn the route, which might be longer than any of us can put up with. So we'll go to our GPS, create a new one, and let's name it Way Home. Hopefully that will be nice and clear. If we come across other bits of terrain that are a bit difficult to traverse, I might do the same thing just to make it a bit easier. And importantly, if I end up making a whole lot of GPS markers, I can just turn some of them off so they're not displaying if I'm not traveling through the bit where I need that marker. Having said that, Way Home works for now, but
if I do end up adding more markers, I'm definitely going to have to rename it so that it's a bit more usefully named. So now we'll try and go over that ore patch and see how well our detector on our top of our car is working. Maybe we'll get lucky. Okay, we've got magnesium down there, that's good. And we've got silicon. Can we pick up anything else? Doesn't look promising. Alright. Let's create a marker here so that we know what's in this deposit. Let's see if we can find any more before it gets dark. As I'm definitely not going to be able to see any of the dark patches once the night falls. So we'll name this deposit with the stuff that we've found in it. And we have magnesium and silicon. So let's get moving again to make the most of a daylight that remains. I might even be able to spot another deposit if I'm lucky. Oh, we got nickel. We got nickel. Got nickel as well. Alright, we now have one of the 3 things we need to create those metal grids for our med bay. So let's delete that previous GPS marker and we'll make a new one telling us of our nickel find. Nickel, magnesium, magnesium, silicon. Okay, that's a nice start. If we can just find some iron and some cobalt, we'll be well on our way, since we've got the silicon now for the displays that we need. So we only need those 2 remaining ores, and we'll actually have some safety. As long as I don't crash while I'm driving around here. That could be a dark patch, or that could just be a terrain color. Let's go check it out. Oh, geez, that's steep. That is steep. Let's get some light on the situation. Okay. Let's not go down the cliffside. Let's go down this slightly smoother bit over here. Even if I had the bigger wheels, I'm not sure I would have been game to jump down that cliff. Might have been just a bit too much risk, especially since I have no way to respawn yet. Okay. Come on. Be an ore patch. Give me something good. Yes, iron. Alright, what else we got? Iron, nickel, cobalt! We got everything in this spot that we need. Perfect. I wish I could say that I actually did plan that, because that's just way too convenient, but this is pure luck. Absolute pure luck. Alright, with our wheels locked down, let's hop out. Let's get our drill on our hotbar. And then we need to make ourselves a little mine. But first, let's get around the back and pop a few things away that we don't need to be carrying. Might as well at least increase our carrying capacity a little bit since we're going to be mining. Alright. So we can see the cobalt. Let's create a mine entrance where I can see 2 of them. Oh, convenient. Alright. I definitely want a marker for this because I do not want to accidentally drive into this hole later. So we have nickel, iron, cobalt, mine. Crouch and right click mine. Let's get some lights. What we want from this mine is to be able to walk in and walk out of it. Even if we had lots of hydrogen, which we really don't right now, we'd still want that. It just adds that degree of safety so that you can escape your mine if you run out of hydrogen at the bottom of it. Saying that though, that ice lake at the end of the valley, it is definitely high on my list of places we need to go to, so that we can fill up those hydrogen bottles and get flying. So we'll head towards the cobalt and then we'll go back and branch out and head towards the others. And we have cobalt. Alright. Let's... Go back, go back. Alright, where could we... I could see iron before. Alright, got iron that way. Start mining through the wall. And we've got iron. Sadly, now that we've got those 2, my drill does not have the range to tell me where the iron is. So we're going to have to come up with another solution. I might try... I could just hop back in the car and see where the nickel is and try and judge it. So the nickel's back behind the car. And that means from where the mine is, I want to head in the direction of the antenna of the vehicle. Why can't I see my antenna?
It seems like it's not broadcasting. Why aren't you broadcasting? I don't remember turning off broadcasting. Let's have a look and see what I messed up.
Ned broadcasting, that's better.
I don't know why that was checked off. Anyway, one of the nice things about enabling the broadcasting is that I can now see where the nickel is and where anything that this detector picks up is, even if I'm out of the vehicle.
So let's drill across until we find that nickel. And then it'll be the grindy drilling of managing to do many trips to get a bit of nickel, a bit of cobalt, and a bit of iron. I've got this set to ×3 inventory. I was thinking of doing realistic, but I suspect that will drive us all insane with the amount of back and forth trips I would have to do. And I would actually probably spend most of my time cutting stuff out.
And my aim with this series was actually to cut as little as possible from this survival playthrough.
And I think ×3 is actually a reasonable balance. Oh no, my nickel's getting away. Get back here. Get back here. Hey, oh. Alright. Did I pick up a bunch of stone then? Not much. I don't have any reactors at the base, so I will need a little bit of stone. I don't mind collecting a couple of bits and pieces here and there. But I don't have the silver or anything yet to be able to do anything useful with it, and unless I happen to stumble across a rock that has uranium in it, I'm well and truly stuck for getting any uranium on this planet. So I'm going to be stuck using solar panels, batteries, and hydrogen-powered ships are what I think I'm going to try and solve most of my problems with. So I may even make an attempt at building a hydrogen-powered small ship miner, which could be an interesting exercise.
And would allow our solar panels to focus on powering our refineries and our assemblers instead of any flying ships that we've got.
Alright, got some nickel, got some cobalt. Let's get some iron. Do. This has worked out quite fortuitously to be able to get the pieces we need for our metal grids right from word go is actually amazing. Now, I think we should probably get a bit more iron than the others since we're going to need it the most. We'll keep going until this car is completely full. And then head back to base and try and finish off that med bay so that we can explore with some degree of safety. Once we've got a reasonable supply of materials, I'm also going to have to think about how to get this vehicle attached to the base to be able to recharge it. Right now, we're going to have to rely on its batteries alone in order to make sure it's got enough charge. I think it's got days of charge, so it's not really likely to be a problem anytime soon. But it would be nice to be able to attach it and recharge it if that becomes an issue. Rather than assuming it's all going to be fine and then all of a sudden lose my vehicle because it's run out of battery power and the antenna's switched off.
Because with my sense of direction, that means it's lost.
Let's hope that none of this mining ends up killing me while I'm trying to get the necessary resources for building a med bay. Alrighty, let's go get one more load of iron, and then it'll be time to head back to base and see if we've got enough battery power to refine enough of these to make our metal grids so that we can get the safety of a med bay. And then it'll be looking at the base to see what we can do to make it defendable. What I'd really like to do is to make the base have some sort of forward outposts that are actually part of the base, but we can get there by tunnels. I want that so that we can put both decoys out there and we can put turrets out beyond the reach of the base, so that if we end up managing to have some sort of drone attack, we'll actually be able to run back home, get in behind those turrets and those decoys, and hopefully have the decoys take most of the damage while the turrets take out any of the attackers that we're trying to escape from. Not sure how well the plan will work, but I'm keen to find out. And I think it'll be an interesting challenge to try and make that look good and also functional.
Inventory full.
And then we probably will need to have some sort of underground garage as well, so that we've got another safety feature to protect any vehicle that we're out in if we start getting attacked. And I keep going back to that connector when I mean to go into the cockpit.
Something I often forget is that you can actually transfer from your personal inventory to the cockpit directly, giving you somewhere else to put stuff, which is handy when your cargo's full. The lighting here is not ideal.
I think we might have enough little pieces to put some lights on the side of this vehicle so that we can actually see around ourselves as well.
So let's grab some of the interior lights, and the idea here is to put a light on each side of the car so that we can see where all of the wheels are, so that hopefully if we're on some uneven terrain, I can get a bit of an idea of what's actually going on immediately around the car. That extra degree of situational awareness can come in very, very handy. So we'll make the range of the lights nice and big, give us as much visibility as possible. Probably don't need it fully intense though.
Now we've got a bit of a glow around us so we can see where each wheel is, which will be helpful. Now, where's that landing? Ooh, that... Is that on the other... Oh, that's... Oh, no, that's not going to be... Is that going to be gettable? Should we try? I think we should try. Let's see if we can actually get to that unknown signal. We might get lucky and we might get some good stuff from it. The next episode of this survival series will be coming very, very soon, so I'll see you then.